Hello everyone, we are going to explain the sounds of a language. Phonetics is the science that studies the relationship between spelling and sound. Phonetics and linguistics study language, but from a different angle. Phonetics is interested in sounds and how they are organized and transmitted, whereas linguistics is concerned with how language is structured grammatically and semantically. Some linguistics consider phonetics to be a prerequisite for linguistics and therefore not part of it. Others include phonetics under linguistics.
What is phonology and what is its main concern? Phonology studies the selection and organization of phonic substance into a given form or pattern. Phonology is therefore the link between phonetics and linguistics. It belongs to both domains since it deals with both aspects of a spoken language, the abstract one, encoding, decoding, and the material one, it means human vocal sounds.
The next type of activity occurs at physiological level, which implies the action of nerves and the muscles. The motor nerves that link the speaker brain with the speech mechanism activate the corresponding muscles. The movement of the tongue, lips, vocal folds, etc. constitute the articularity stage of the chain and the area of phonetics that deals with articularity phonetics. The movement of articulators produces disturbances in the air pressure called sound waves, which are physical manifestations. This is acoustic stage of the chain, during which the sound waves travel towards the listener ear. The study of speech sound waves corresponds to acoustic phonetics. The sound waves activate the listener eardrum, and his sensory nerves transmit the message in the form of nerve impulses to the brain. The hearing process of the domain of auditory phonetics. The last stage of the chain is again a linguistic one, during which the ear's brain decodes the message in order to make it recognizable, which means psychological activity.
What is the IPA chart? IPA is a phonetic alphabet or set of symbols that would serve to represent the sounds of any language.
Vowel sounds are produced in most cases without any kind of contact between the articulators. They can be made different from each other mainly by raising a certain part of the tongue to different levels, by modifying the shape of the lips, and by raising and lowering the velum. Pure vowels refers to a final classification of vowel sounds state whether their quality is relative sustained. The tongue remains its more or less extended position.
What are diphthongs and how are they formed? Diphthongs can be classified articulatorily and auditorily. According to the distance the tongue travels, they can be articulatorily leveled, wide when the glide is long, and narrow when the glide is short. Depending on the direction of the movement the tongue makes in producing diphthongs, the English set can be articulatorily classified into closing and centering, and the Spanish set into closing and opening. Closing diphthongs involve a glide towards a closer tongue position. Centering diphthongs, a glide towards a central position, and opening diphthongs, a glide towards a more open position. According to the prominence of the elements, diphthongs can be auditorily classified into falling, when the first element is more prominent than the second, and rising, when the second is more prominent than the first. In English, all diphthongs are generally falling, and in Spanish, all falling diphthongs are closing, and most rising ones are opening.
For purposes of classification, it is convenient to describe the reason of three basic parts of the tone: front, center, the mid position between front and back, and the final is the back position. The vowel sounds of English and Spanish have two characteristics in common. In the first place, they are normally voice sounds. They are produced with vibration of the vocal folds. In the second place, they are usually oral sounds. When the vibrating column of air reaches the top of the pharynx, it generally escapes through the mouth only. Occasionally, there are the voicing and nasaling vowel sounds in English and Spanish, but it's not a common characteristic. The system is based on two articularity selected vowel sounds. The first is produced by raising the tongue as close as possible to the palate without causing friction.
What is a consonant sound and how is it formed? A consonant sound is a sound in which the L stream meets either a structure of complete oral closure, one of intermittent closure, one of partial oral closure, or one of close approximation. Voiced sounds are those produced with vibration of the vocal folds, and voiceless sounds are those produced without vibration of the vocal folds. The place of articulation dimension specifies where in the vocal tract the constriction is. The voicing parameter specifies whether the vocal folds are vibrating or not. The manner of articulation dimension is essentially everything else. How narrow the constriction is, whether air is flowing through the nose, and whether the tongue is focused down on one side. The vocal folds may be held against each other at just right tension so that the air flowing passing them from the lungs will cause them to vibrate against each other. We call this process voicing. Sounds which are made with vocal fold vibration are said to be voiced. Sounds made without vocal fold vibration are said to be voiceless.
A phoneme is the smallest contrastive phonological unit which can be produce a difference in meaning. And the second is a phonic substance is any vocal sound a human being capable of producing. Allophones can be defined as the variants of each phoneme. Vowel height refers to the vertical position of the tongue related to either the roof of the mouth or the aperture of the jaw. In a high vowel such as vowel number 1 and vowel number 9, the tongue is positioned high in the mouth, where areas in low vowels such as vowel number 12, the tongue is positioned low in the mouth. The International Phonetic Alphabet identifies 5 different degrees of vowel backness: front vowel, near front vowel, center vowel, near back vowel, and the back vowel. Roundness refers to whenever the lips are rounded or not. In most languages, roundness is reinforcing features of mid or high back vowels and is not distinctive. Tenseness is used to describe the opposition of tense vowels, as slip and sut, versus like vowels as lip and sut. When we learn in English, we will find two kinds of speech features. The first one is segmental features, which refer to sound units arranged in sequential order, or it is about consonant and vowel. The second is suprasegmental features, refer to stress, pitch, length, intonation, and other features that always accompany the production of segmental.
What is prosody? In phonetics, the term prosody, or suprasegmental phonology, is the use of pitch, loudness, tempo, and rhythm in speech to convey information about the structure and meaning of an utterance. Alternatively, in literary studies, prosody is a theory and principles of versification, especially in reference to rhythm, accent, and stanza.
Prosodic features are features such as pitch, loudness, quantity, and pause that affect stretches of utterance longer than a segment, such as a syllable, a word, or a sentence. In other words, we can say when we put sounds together in connected speech. It is important to teach learners prosodic features, as successful communication depends as much on intonation, stress, and rhythm as one of correct pronunciation of sounds.